What's up there, YouTube friends? Cheddar here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're having a good day. Thanks for joining me for another video. This is just a quick review of the new show, The Penguin, episode 3 from season 1. Again, because it's a new show. I'm watching the show on Max. That's where you can find it. I'm not sure if it's on other streaming services, but Google search will tell you. But it's definitely available on Max. I'm pretty sure that's the only platform because that's where it's premiering on, but you may be able to find it elsewhere. But right now, season 1, episode 3 is out, and I've watched it. I'm going to go through it rather quick because there's not a whole lot that's changed. It's the third episode of the first season, so there's not a whole lot I can really give you in terms of review. Ultimately, the show is setting up, planting the seeds. A lot of season ones of shows, they've got to plant seeds for their season 2 and 3, and it really feels like it's doing that. Uh, my general thoughts right now, the show is okay. It's okay to good. I would put it somewhere from C tier to B tier, C plus to a solid B, somewhere around there. It's good to okay. It hasn't been no great moments so far, no real bad moments, just maybe kind of low moments. But shows and movies they should have some low moments. There should be, just like any roller coaster will have its moment where it kind of plateaus and it starts to normalize, and you're like, okay, maybe the ride's over, and then there's more to the ride after that. So I'm fine with shows having low moments. I don't want to say a low moment, but perhaps not a climactic moment too, as long as there's something, a little bit of interest or something there to get you to the next points. And a lot of the show will feel like there's interesting points that they're trying to get to, and then they're sort of stretching out the show to get to those points. It feels like in the writing of the show, uh, they're trying to hit these specific bullet points. Like, this episode has to hit these bullet points, or in this episode, as the writer, I want this to happen, and an episode for this to happen. Because right now the show, I don't want to say it doesn't have a story, but there's nothing super at stake yet, and it feels like it's getting to there. It's just right now the show is about the Penguin basically infiltrating a crime family, and he's sort of using and sabotaging another crime family to do it. He's working as oh man, I can't remember where a Machiavellian character, where he's playing both the good guy and the bad guy. He's playing both, every side. He's working for every team basically, and he's just trying to uh, mechanically use every party for his own benefit. And it's that he's the best part. Colin Farrell as the Penguin is the best part. The Penguin's the best part. Um, he makes the Penguin interesting and fun, and sort of a legit gangster too, when the character's normally sort of a joke. One thing that's a little funny, I don't really have, I guess I do have friends from New York, but I've never, I don't think I've ever heard anyone, when they're talking in the New York accent, I don't think I've heard them say, uh, have the accent so heavy where they're saying "woik." Like, that is one thing about Colin Farrell's accent that he'll say, is sometimes he'll say, he'll talk about, like, you don't deserve this, or yeah, this ain't working out, or sorry, this ain't working out, and he just says "woiken" and "deserve," and it's so accentuated, so it's uh I don't know how real that is, but it doesn't bother me. I mean, he feels like a bit of a cartoony comic villain, and I think it's important for the show to sort of hold to that a little bit, since it is grounded in, or centered around the Penguin. I think it's good for Colin to make the Penguin threatening and still keep him a bit cartoony too. And so that's what I'm getting from the Penguin. It's getting a little bit Breaking Bad Breaking Bad ish. If you're not familiar with the show Breaking Bad, it's basically crime story about where some meth is made and the meth is blue, and there's people working as underground in the crime in the crime sorry, the meth industry. So what's happening. This isn't much of a spoiler. This is the beginning of season 3. But what's happening in season 3 is there's a plot centered around this new red drug that Oz is the Penguin uh, is going to be the the distributor for. So uh, it's getting a little Breaking Bad-ish, where instead of the blue drug for the story to center around, there's a red drug, and instead of crystal meth, it's this new fictional crystal stuff. But the show's also not that Breaking Bad. I would also I know I've compared this in other past review episodes of The Penguin, but it's more like Boardwalk Empire, which is another show that I liked quite a bit. I feel like the show's more like Boardwalk Empire, where uh, the main character of Boardwalk Empire is a character who is pretty much manipulating all parties, and the show is you seeing them play these multiple chess games, right? And part of it, you as the viewer are not sure. They're saying the main character is telling other characters, "No, I trust you. You're my right hand person," or "I only trust you with this," to different people. And you're trying to you as the viewer are trying to keep track of like who you think the main character actually trusts, be it he or she. But in these two cases, it's he. Um, who the main character actually trusts, who they don't trust, who are they manipulating, why would they be manipulating? You try to really watch this, and Boardwalk Empire, I think, does it a little better. But also, this show's just getting started too, so I'm not trying to be hard on the show. I believe shows when they're beginning, they're planting the seeds, and you have to have time for the plants to grow. You don't just get the full tomato plant right away. You have to plant it, water it. You got to spend some time with it. So some shows aren't worth the time. The Penguin seems okay. If you're a Batman fan, I think it's worth checking out. I think you're going to like the Penguin at least. But I guess I need more information overall to give the final verdict. But overall, it's okay so far. So it's if you have access to Max, it's and you're bored of all the other shows, it's not a bad checkout. If I had to offer one complaint to the show, uh, I'm keeping this spoilery too, but there's a main character or a main side character of the show, who I will say his name is Vic. If you're not keeping up with the show, this won't mean much to you, but if you are keeping up with the show, you know who Vic is. He is one of the main side characters. Uh, and if anything, I never like to try to be hard on actors, okay? Because it it can be a weird job. And I always just think everyone acts. I try to give actors the benefit of the doubt with things, but I just I feel like I am not getting the emotions I should be getting from Vic. When he's supposed to be scared, he just sort of looks. He always seems to have the same face, I guess. And I know some people can be monotone face in that way, or generally have the same facial expressions, not vary up a lot of expressions, but it doesn't help with the very dramatic sequences, right? When someone's life is at stake and they're just kind of like, they're not like intense or any way, that they don't have any surprise face. He's he feels, and maybe the character is trying to just hold back his emotions. Maybe it's getting to that. That's why I'm trying to say, let it. It's planting the seeds, right? But so far, for the scenes I'm seeing, uh, Vic is just not. I don't feel like he's delivering on the emotions that he should be. Okay, I do like him in some scenes where he's just got to be sort of a happy teenager guy. He seems like a swell kid in that regards. I think he plays the swell kid kind of vibe well. But for any dramatic or intense moments, I do not get it from him. I would compare this again to Boardwalk Empire, where the main character had a partner character, and in the first two seasons at least, and you really had that where you felt like he cared about the character, but you also weren't sure how much he cared about the character, and it I felt like that was a better relationship. And this relationship between Oz and Vic is sort of striving and hoping to be that relationship that is in Boardwalk Empire, but is not, is missing the mark basically. Boardwalk Empire, that partnership, that relationship, in terms of how interesting it is to watch, it's pretty A tier. You know, it's great. This one again, like C to B, it has some good moments, but I feel like Vic's saying he's traumatized, but he just never looks, or I'm not getting the traumatized or troubled feel from him. He always sort of looks bored or confused, I suppose, in a way. And I don't really usually, I don't know, point this out too much, but in this one, it's sort of standing out for me. So, maybe he's just getting with the program, or maybe there's more to the character that we haven't learned yet, because that's always the case too. One show that did that I'm a huge fan of is Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot season 1 is kind of a B minus. It has its great moments, but that show is a show that really builds up, and it's in around season 3 or something that show gets great. So I'm trying to follow the show to see if it's going to get like that, but in a Batman universe way. That would be the ideal, right? If we get a sort of a Breaking Bad or a Boardwalk Empire of the Batman universe, and hopefully it can be better than them. If it can, then I'll be happy for it. I'm not saying it won't, but right now it just seems okay, and like it's planting some seeds. So we got to see where it's going. I hope Vic gets more intense. It had a cool cliffhanger ending. So for all these kind of endings are always cliffhangers now, but it's still interesting to see. It's a TV show, so it's going to lead into the next episode. Why not? I accept things like Lost for what it is, and at least unless it gets off the rails. I did jump off that boat at one point, so we'll see if I jump off the Penguin boat. SS Penguin. We will see. But for now, I'm keeping you informed, or at least relatively informed. I don't like to go too heavy into spoilers because I want you to be able to enjoy the show too. So it's right now. See episode 3. It's about some drugs, some red crystal drugs. So and Oz is the distributor. The Penguin is the distributor. Anyway, that's enough of that. So it's okay so far. Thank you for joining. Thanks for listening. You rule. Have a great day. Fist bump. Take care. I salute you. Bye bye.